Hey, we're talking about the new Masters of the Universe and She-Ra up next on Geek Out SA.
Do not attempt to adjust your YouTube video. We control the stream.
I have the power! And welcome back to Geek Out SA. It's Friday and we're having fun. But that's not what I titled it.
I thought for sure you were going to title it that, because that's like, to me, that's the catchy title. I mean, that's the thing, right?
Yeah, but people are not going to type in I have the power to search.
I have the power!
They might.
They might actually.
Or
They
they-
might
or they might
actually
just-
do that.
I can put that in as a...
As a subset, as a, what do you call those thingies?
I think
A
the thinking is now you put in Kevin Smith screwed up.
Have you seen it? And you think Kevin Smith screwed up?
I don't think he screwed up. It's awful.
You thought it was awful?
There's bits of it that are okay, but some of it's awful.
Oh. Okay, so I had a different take on that, and Vincent was telling me that people didn't really like it, and I was like, how could they not like it?
Because
Well, I know exactly why they didn't like it.
Okay, so we're just going to spoil it for you. So if you don't want it spoiled, unfortunately, this is one of our episodes
Actually,
can't watch.
we won't spoil it because there's another 5 episodes coming.
Yeah.
Which they haven't written yet.
Right.
They're going to probably rewrite it all.
I don't think they will. Because it's Kevin Smith's take based on the comics, not Kevin Smith's take based on the 80s cartoon.
But here's the thing, and the big thing going around about He-Man. But we're also talking about other stuff other than He-Man.
Well, let's He-Man first.
So he said on his podcast, like way back when, that he has no love for He-Man.
Did he really?
Yeah, he said, yeah, he has no affinity with it. He wasn't a fanboy. Blah blah blah.
Why did he take on the project then?
Ka-ching.
Money, yeah.
He's got new Mallrats movie coming out.
Oh, the new Clerks, yeah.
And the Clerks 3.
Yeah.
But I guess I always saw him as one of those in the business who is, generally speaking, more about the art. He usually tends to take on projects because he enjoyed the comics or something, and he wants to add to that genre and be part of that. So I didn't realize, so that was not something that I had heard, that he has no love for He-Man.
That's some of the research that I did, but yeah, he went...
Did he say why he had no love for He-Man? Or it just wasn't his jam?
It just wasn't his jam.
Well, he's more of a superhero guy, right?
But he goes out on this thing after the making of stuff, like the Talking Dead stuff, but for Masters of the Universe. And he's talking about how he loved this stuff.
Right, which I'm sure he had to do for that show, because you and I watched the making of and everything. Well, for somebody who didn't care about how it came across, I'm sure he had a hand in casting who the voices were. So to cast Mark Hamill as Skeletor, you think that's a money grab as well?
Yeah. There was no need to get Mark Hamill as Skeletor. They had Alan Oppenheimer. He's the voice of another couple of characters. He's the original Skeletor. He's not dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they had him on that thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he was on there.
Yeah.
The only reason they cast Mark Hamill is his big name. That's it. Mm-hmm. That's the only reason.
See, and I thought they cast him because he's a good voice. He plays.
No,
he
he is
a good voice actor.
But why do that when you've got the original Skeletor still alive and still doing original?
But old.
Who cares?
Well, but
What,
maybe
Mark Hamill's not old?
Yeah, but this gentleman was much older when we saw him on the making of, and it seemed to him and maybe they made him say all these things. Again, it's a show, so you don't know, but it seemed like he was glad to see it move on to a new, like, kind of generation and everything, which I know, which is some of...
But it's not moving on to a new generation. The only people that care about He-Man is like Vincent and my age. We are the only ones that have kept that thing going.
Yeah.
I love He-Man.
Because
I've always
I'm
loved
sorry, He-Man and the Master of the Universe is toxic masculinity, and that is just not for children anymore. And
It
the only
was.
I mean, I
Was.
guess it was. It was.
and the only thing
I don't
that
see things that way because I grew up with them.
the only
so-
thing that has kept Masters of the Universe alive is people our age buying the toys that the Mattel Collectors Club has been putting out for years and years and years.
Yeah.
It hasn't been able to get traction for retail for like 20 years. And I'm sure the only people that are buying the toys now are people our age that are giving it to our kids, and they're going, what the hell is this crap?
But they did a weird phase of the toys. Well, they did a weird phase of He-Man, didn't they? They did another...
the space adventure one?
The space,
Yeah.
because
Yes,
everything's
that-
got to go to space, like Stuart said.
That was not very good.
That was
Yeah.
not very
And
good.
the toys were
I didn't like the
awful.
toys, yeah.
Yeah.
the
no,
toys
I
were
remember
really
that.
awful in the series.
Because they weren't reminiscent of the original toys.
No, they tried to go a completely different
Yeah.
different direction.
See, and I guess I see things because I grew up with these, and so I see them differently, right? I don't see them as toxic masculinity so much as I see it as this group of friends who's trying to defeat this bad guy, and then the bad guy is kind of like one of the things that I was telling Vincent was in this newer version, to me, Skeletor wasn't as comical as he was in the
No,
original.
he wasn't.
Like in the original, he's kind of a blundering idiot. That's what you kind of love about him, right?
I don't think he was a blundering idiot. I think all his henchmen were blundering idiots.
Well, he was too. He kind of threw fits like
yeah.
Kylo Ren, you
Yeah,
know? He
yeah.
was kind of like... and he did some of that in this new rendition of...
Although I do like the fact that he finally got into Castle Grayskull and went... although the first time he got in and went, oh, I'm here now, what am I supposed to do? Oh, let's break this thing.
Right.
And then it was like, no.
But when I saw it, I didn't have a big problem with the whole thing. I thought it was good. What I really liked was the first episode.
Yeah, the first episode was
The
pretty
first episode was everything to everybody that loved He-Man to begin with. Even though when you look back at He-Man, that's the animation was crap, but it was the technology at the time that we had.
Yeah, I mean, I go back and look at it and I'm like, ooh, the voice comparatively, like the voice acting and just the acting in general and the cuts and everything, not
But
as
when
good
you
as
look at
today's.
Skeletor back then and Skeletor now,
Uh-huh.
that's two completely different Skeletors.
But see, in our imagination, in our defense, when we were younger, we didn't have the computer, right?
Right.
We didn't have the internet to show us all these things, so we relied on our imagination. So when you're watching this, your
When we
imagination is filling in the blanks, right?
Right.
And so now they've got to really, kind of hand this stuff out to people as they animate it, because people don't fill in the blanks as much.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, to me, that, Skeletor, he looked like that, he was larger than life, but to me, I remember him in my mind, he was like real, he was like real goofy. Like he really wanted to be a bad guy and he wanted to take over, but
they kind of,
and it was kind of there like in the first episode, and I thought,
yeah,
okay, this is going the right way. So then I'm guessing that the reason that they spent a lot of time with Tila and Andra and everybody is because they're trying to erase some of that toxic masculinity from He-Man and bring it into something that the newer generations will watch and will appreciate. And so that's why there was a lot of girl power in there, which I think is what people had a problem with, right? Is people didn't want to see those characters.
well, they probably did want to see the character. They didn't want to see them changed as much as they did. Like let's shave half our head and be bitchy for almost the entire rest of the series was not something I wanted to see.
Well, but she's going through a journey, right? They're trying to take her through a character development of, I thought I knew who I was with these people, and then I find out something kind of earth-shattering.
So the problem with that is there was only a few people that knew who He-Man was.
But they were all people that she was close to. So that she just felt betrayed. So I understood the journey they were trying to get her to go on, was that feeling of betrayal, and then to realize, okay, people in your life can make mistakes and they can hurt you, and you can still love them, and that's okay. Because she does still love them, and she does still want Adam to...
She don't care about Adam. She don't care about man. She's a man-hating...
No, she's
yes,
not.
she is.
I saw something totally different.
That's all her and Evelyn did. Was we don't need man, we hate man, screw man.
Well, and I thought that was a little over the top because they were trying to make a point, right? They're trying to, but you have to take that with a grain of salt, right? Because we came from a different generation, and they're trying to feed it move it forward.
That Masters of the Universe, because you notice how they didn't call it He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, because that's what the original cartoon was called, He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. So they're trying to show what that was beyond He-Man.
Right, because we lose He-Man in these 5 episodes, right? And He-Man is gone from the universe, and so he's not an integral part of this journey. He's basically in heaven, and with all the other He-Men.
Yeah, there was problems with that too. It was like, yeah, here are all the other defenders of Eternia, and they're all the big buff guys that they were, and yeah, here's scrawny little Adam.
Right, but that was purposeful too.
Yeah, I know why it was done, but it was stupid.
And Adam was way scrawnier than in the original.
Than in the original, right? Because in the original, Adam's pretty buff just as Adam.
Yeah, because they were just using the same body mold.
Right. Because, you know, who has time to be doing all that animation? So.
That was brought in with the 2000 series. So.
Yeah.
But now I'm going in and doing some more research, and then like people are saying, oh, well, they're just trying to make Adam like Bicurious or something like there. And I didn't even see that in any of that of the new stuff.
I don't know. I don't assign sexuality to I guess I don't think about that when I watch a cartoon.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking more of like the friendships and the companionships, and like, you know, what are the characters doing to grow, and what are they doing? And I'm looking for those, like, you know, little jabs at each other and the fight scenes and stuff. I mean, it's a cartoon, so I'm not looking for that. And maybe if I wasn't heterosexual, I would be looking for that. I don't know. I don't have a problem with that being it, but I don't know that it's necessary either.
It's not necessary, but that's...
I don't think I even thought about it. I mean, you know, of course, when we watched the original one, we were kids, but I wasn't thinking, oh, you know, He-Man's like hooking up. When I watched G.I. Joe, I used to think that Scarlet and Duke were like hooking up and that they were dating.
They probably were.
Scarlet was the only chick I've ever wanted to be in like a cartoon. I wanted to be Scarlet because Duke was hot, and I was like, I could hook up with that dude, and I could be a badass and kick ass. I could be Scarlet. I never thought to be Tila though. I mean, I always wanted to be Man at Arms. Yeah. Like, who doesn't? Yeah. I mean, he was like no nonsense. He was like the big brusque, you know. No
nonsense, cool stash.
Yeah.
Unless you're the toy where you don't have the stash.
Yeah. Yeah, he was my, you know, that was my jam. And then I liked what they did with Orko, and I thought that was a cute little storyline, and his sacrifice for the team.
Didn't sound the same, like, at all.
Didn't sound the same.
Well, again, parts of the story were fine. Like the whole, the Skeletor getting in and breaking everything and breaking the magic, and He-Man doing the He-Man thing and saving. That was cool.
That was cool. Yep.
And the whole, all right, the good guys and the bad guys kind of have to band together to figure stuff out. That was okay.
Yeah.
It was just the whole Teela thing.
But I kind of get why you disliked it or hated it so much, because what they kind of did is kind of what they did to. We should have had those on the thing hanging right there. Is what they did to.
I do have He-Man toys.
The last 3 episodes in Star Wars, where they tried to like get rid of the old and bring in the new.
Yeah. Well, I think everybody's going to have to start doing that. That's just the way of the world, right? We're going to have to start seeing that.
When you're pandering to our generation that watched it and loved it,
you can't do that.
We can't do
But
that.
to an extent, our generation should want it to move forward and to mean something because it did mean something to us. So if you love something,
But it's something
we need to
different.
stop gatekeeping.
It's not gatekeeping because it's not the same thing. They're not releasing.
Well, it's not the same
stuff.
thing because the
They're
world's not the
changing
same anymore.
it, right?
The way people see things is not the same anymore. The way people feel about things is not the same anymore.
Well, but that's saying that all people
And
see
Kevin
differently, and all people don't see differently.
and Kevin Smith, I'm sure because he included his daughter on this project.
Of course, which he's done in the last several of his projects.
Yeah, and she's important to him, so he is trying to make it accessible for. I'm sure she's in his ear, right? And he's trying to make it accessible for her.
Hollywood
and her
nepotism at its best.
generation. But I think to an extent all of us that are parents do that, right? We want things to have meaning. Things that we used to love, we want them to have meaning for our kids too.
But it doesn't work like that. It really doesn't.
It hasn't worked like that.
No,
Not really.
it doesn't work.
It worked for me. It worked for me. It worked, and maybe it's because I'm an educator and I'm with kids all the time, and so I see the world changing through them.
But when you look at it like showing it to our kids, like when we showed our kids Gremlins, it didn't mean to them.
Right,
what
but
it
if
meant to
somebody
us.
revamped Gremlins to be modern and to have modern technology, it might mean something to them then. That's what I'm saying. Sometimes you have to take the old and revamp it, and sometimes people mess it up when they're trying to revamp it and give it to the new generations. I mean, that, people were not fans of the Ghostbusters movie with all the women. And again, we're seeing this a lot, and we're going to see this for a while. We're going to see women being put in the forefront. And I guess because I'm a girl, I see this differently than you guys too, right? Because when I was growing up, there weren't a lot of women that we looked up to that we wanted to be. Like, if you were a geek girl, a lot of us wanted to be the male characters because that was what was available. They were the ones who were the coolest, right? They were the coolest, they were the strongest, they were the most revered. And so I get where they're trying to go with this.
See, but they tried to do that, and we'll talk about this later. They did the all right. We had the toxic masculinity with He-Man, so they tried to soften it with She-Ra.
Right, and it's a joke too because I watched some of the episodes, and her friend Bo is like, when she's Andra, because he doesn't know she's She-Ra, and he's like, "Better watch out. I'm a man. Come on with me. I'm gonna help you with my man ways." And she just kind of looked like, they break the fourth wall, and she looks at the camera and she's like, whatever, fool. But again, it's men writing for women, right? So they tried to do it with She-Ra and it wasn't as successful. So they're trying it again to make it a little more successful for young women of this generation.
But they're doing it on He-Man when they could have stuck it with She-Ra, just left it with She-Ra.
But why
'Cause
not
it
do
had
it with?
its own thing.
But why not do it with He-Man and then they're
But
just
why-
going to even the playing field? I think they're just trying to even the playing field. So we're going to have these first 5 episodes where Tila is important, right? And she's on this journey. But now we see that Adam is coming back. He's going to come back with them. But now Skeletor has the power, so they're going to have to work together. I think we're just going to have these heroes on an even keel. So I don't think that it's going to be so much man-hating and then there's toxic masculinity and get rid of all the men. I hope. I guess. I hope
Because-
that's not where I think we're going with this.
Right.
I hope that we're building up Tila so that we know a little bit about her.
They can't go that way. I don't think they can.
I think they can.
I think they can, and let's just hope they don't. Because I think correcting the wrongs of the past doesn't mean making it so that men seem so horrible and we need to get rid of them
because
either. I think it's just a level playing field, right?
I don't think you can eliminate He-Man from the Masters of the Universe. That doesn't make sense.
Right, and I don't think that's where Kevin's going with this. I hope not. Because he wanted to show, or he says in the making of, right?
And it wouldn't be very smart to do if Mattel's trying to sell toys. Why are you going to sell a toy if somebody's dead?
Right. And I think most
and
of
have it
us
sell well because He-Man is the ultimate character that you want.
Right, we want to see He-Man. In the end, even as a girl, I wanted to see He-Man. I didn't have a problem with it so far because we did get to see He-Man, and we got to see him as Adam, and my hope is, I mean, I'm still giving this a chance because we've only seen 5 episodes, so I'm thinking in the next 5, I'm going to get to see He-Man again. That's what I'm buying into this for, right? I want to see He-Man, but you have to give it a chance. I hope.
Right.
I hope. And you're saying no, you don't think that even if we give it a chance.
I'm not giving it a chance.
No.
Because Netflix, 5 episodes is not a series. Screw that, for starters. and I just don't like where it went.
You didn't like where it went.
No.
Okay.
And I tried to watch the new She-Ra, and it was...
So the new She-Ra is a totally different...
If my daughter likes it, then I shouldn't be watching
Right.
it.
So I think it's super cute. It's like a mix of Adventure Time and My Little Ponies. It's definitely not the She-Ra. It's not even close to the She-Ra that we grew up with.
No.
But it's super cute. So for me, I like it. It's just like a little break. It's a little levity. It's a cute little storyline. I've been enjoying it. We've been watching it. I've been enjoying it. But again, I'm looking at it through a different lens. I can definitely
see.
see.
The change here is that the original show was called She-Ra, Princess of Power.
Because she's it.
She's it. She's the Princess of Power.
She's actually Adam's twin sister, and that's how we get her in the original, in the 80s.
Right.
Is we get Adam's twin sister, and she's trying to defend her realm that she's over.
AK says the show was marketed at the old school fans. Old school fans were reassured that it was a true continuation of the old show. Netflix has a new He-Man show currently in production made for kids. And this was it seemed like a continuation of the original He-Man.
I mean, it didn't seem like a continuation to me. It seemed like it was...
The first episode seemed like a continuation.
First episode kind of was.
The first episode. Yes.
Again, I'm quite happy with my 2000X series, which kind of was good, and then it stopped because they stopped producing toys.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what a lot of us have to remember is they started with the toy for He-Man and the show came after. It was like they were like, how do we sell this? We're going to make this up as on the fly. This is an afterthought.
And actually, when you come to think about it, the show is probably inconsequential to most of us that grew up playing with the toy. I didn't because I was a little bit older, but most of the kids that played with the toy couldn't care less about the show. They made up their own stories and their own adventures.
Yeah, I mean,
and stuff
I
like
watched
that.
the show, but we made up our own stuff. So my brother and I had the toys, and we couldn't afford the castle, but my dad was an art teacher, so he got like the oatmeal containers and paper mache. And he like made the skull and everything and got cardboard boxes, and we had our own castle, right? And we had the Battle Cat, and we had He-Man, and we had Man-at-Arms, we had Skeletor. And
it was probably to the correct scale, too. Which the original Castle Grayskull was not to scale.
And so we had a really good time playing with it. Yeah, because we're making up our own scenes and who's doing this and... and probably
it
back
was like a continuation of what you saw on the Saturday morning cartoons.
Or you know how I am. I make up my own stories anyway, so I was probably like, this is how it happened. And my brother was probably like, that's not how it happened. I'm like, I'm telling you, this is how it happens. This is what
I'm going to break his leg.
So that's funny, too. We were laughing. So if you've seen the making of Jason Mewes, because always Kevin Smith and Jason Mewes, right? Jason Mewes has to be part of it. And they give Jason Mewes the Skeletor toy and they let him play with it. Well, he plays with toys apparently the same way I do. And the toys attack one another and like bash each other and stuff like that. So it was pretty funny because I don't know if you've watched our videos like back in the day, but Stuart, our producer, bought us these toys that are the He-Man bodies, but they're DC characters. Mm-hmm. So I play with them because that's what you do with toys, and because I like to play with toys still, even though I'm like almost 50. And so that's what I do, and I'm playing with the Joker and I break his leg off.
To be fair, they were crap toys.
And he gets drug across the thing by Lex Luthor. I mean, that was it growing up, you know? That was the thing.
Mm-hmm.
You played with the toys, right? And you only got to see these cartoons on Saturday. You didn't binge watch them on Netflix or anything. So, and if you slept too long or whatever, you missed it. There was no DVR or whatever. So if you missed the episode for the week, you just made up your own episode with your toys, and you just continued the storyline, and it went on however you wanted.
Cringer can talk now, where he wasn't able to talk before. He would just like cower and stuff and be a fraidy cat.
Right. And if I remember from the cartoons, and maybe again this is something, but he kind of talked through like facial expressions and stuff, right? In the cartoon.
I think he could talk.
Could he talk? I don't remember
No,
him
he
talking.
didn't talk.
Yeah, I think he
I don't
did.
remember him talking. I just remember him like making faces and stuff.
Yeah.
And like giving you a look or something. You know,
Yeah,
they would
he would
pan
do-
to him and he would break the fourth
Yeah.
wall, you know, and he'd give you this look like, oh, here we go again with these idiots or something, you know. It was like that kind of thing, right? Yeah. That's what I remember. What I'd like to do, because it's been
Cringer talks.
30 years.
Cringer talks.
In the original?
Yes.
I'd like to go back and watch the originals.
Yeah.
I've got the originals on Voodoo.
'Cause
All of them.
I heard that
I
they
just
were
bought
on...
them.
You did? I heard that they were on Amazon Prime also. So I'd like to go back and watch them because... Again, it's been like 30-something years.
And then we watch it and I'm just like, we used to watch this stuff. Because like when I go back and watch G.I. Joe, I was like, I can't believe I used to watch this and it was the most awesome thing ever.
See, and it's funny because I have a different experience with it. I'll go back and watch it and I'm just like enthralled with it because I'm back, you know. I'm back at that time period. I'm back there. You know, I'm filling in the gap. At first, when I first start watching it, I'm like, ooh, this story's kind of jumpy and everything, and the animation's not real great, and these cutscenes aren't good. But then when I let myself go and I'm back in it,
I'll
then I'm
let
back
myself and keep watching them.
Yeah.
But my first gut reaction to it, just like, I used to think this stuff was amazing from the get-go.
Yeah.
And it wasn't. And some of the acting was horrible.
Oh, horrible. Yeah, it was the worst. It was awful. Compared to what they can do now, it was horrible.
And you get the cheese with in the first episode with He-Man and Skeletor. You get that cheese there, but they seem to, after that episode, they kind of eliminate that cheesiness.
I mean, they have the cheesiness, but with the side characters that people may not have remembered as much.
Yeah, but not,
You know, like
not as
Stinkor
much.
and stuff like that. Not as much. Not as much.
And
but
we
yeah.
have like Stinkor, which was a toy that never came out on the original.
Right. Well, he did, but he was just like very small part in the original cartoon.
Yeah. There were a lot of stuff that was just
Like blips in the cartoon,
Yeah.
basically.
blips in the cartoon, or some of them weren't even in the cartoon. I think like Scareglow was never in the cartoon. I think he was in the comic.
And I thought you would have appreciated that they were trying to make that leap to technology. Excuse me, sorry. And kind of modernize it a little bit.
That was kind of cheesy to me with
Kinda cheesy.
Triclops.
I thought it was cheesy. I was like, what's the point of this even? Like, why do we need technology?
But it
in
was
this?
like technology
eternity?
as a religion.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And that kind of bothered me.
really.
I had an issue with that.
Why? Because you relate? You worship technology?
No, I don't.
Oh, we're all going to hell.
I don't. I don't know. I didn't like it.
Yeah.
It wasn't written well. That part. I don't think so. So I don't even know why they like. I think She-Ra does a better job at doing that, of dealing with technology and magic.
Mm-hmm.
Way better job.
And She-Ra's super like kiddish.
Yeah.
Like it's a very kiddish cartoon. Like, It's very My Little Pony, Care Bear-esque. Like, because it's all the princesses and.
But I see it more as like anime. It's closer to the stuff that they do with anime.
A little bit. But you didn't watch very much Adventure Time with the kids.
No, but I used to watch it, but that was like horrible animation. This
Yeah,
is
but it
better
has-
animation.
It was all horrible animation back then. It was a phase.
It was a phase they went through, yeah. Yeah, but it
like
has
what
that
they did
whole...
to like Thundercats.
Oh my god.
Roar?
Let's not even talk about it.
Yeah, no, I didn't like that at all.
No. I would totally watch Thunder. Now you've got me stuck on Thundercats. But yeah, I like the way that She-Ra. So She-Ra did take this new cartoon. Did definitely move away from where we were in the 80s, right?
Like completely.
Completely. Aside from its Andra. That's pretty much the extent of it. And you have Bo. But Andra is part of the, and the Hordak and everybody they are the bad people then in the. Sorry, I've got the yawnies today. I don't know. I don't know why I like it because I don't always like that cutesy kind of animation type
but it's
stuff.
It's not as cutesy as I first thought it was.
Mm-hmm.
There seems to be more depth to it than that. I see Andra kind of like changing,
Growing as a character.
Yeah. So, no, I really enjoy that. I like what they're doing with that. Eliminating the link between her and He-Man, I don't.
Well,
Because-
but we don't know that they've eliminated the link because they keep alluding to that she's like an orphan or whatever, and that they found her. So I keep wondering if they're gonna like drop the bomb on her and tell her where she really comes from and who she's really linked to.
Yeah.
Like, I'm wondering if once we get into the show, that's one of the things they throw at her to throw her off, right? Because that's very tropey of these kind of comic book type things, right? Is I've hit my stride and I'm doing really good, and then they throw in this old family drama and it like kicks me off of my path, and then I've kind of got to deal with my feelings and stuff like that, and come to terms with who I really am or who I think I am versus who I think I should be, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if they're gonna kick that in at some point.
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know.
So.
I keep
I hope
kind of.
so. I would like to think so, but I don't know. It's two different animation styles, and I don't ever see them coming together like that.
No,
If
we'll
they did
never
something
have.
like that?
Yeah, we'll never have that. They'll bring He-Man in with this animation style. Which, if our viewers telling us that they're gonna have a He-Man that's a children's, that makes sense then, because they're gonna use She-Ra then to build us up to get us over to He-Man, and then we'll have that crossover, and then He-Man will
Right.
take off on his own. That would make sense to me. So if they do that, I don't have a problem with that. And then we're seeing some new characters with these princesses and stuff like that. So it's cute to see some of the
I
different
said before-
personalities and stuff.
Yeah, when I was saying before, the original was called She-Ra Princess of Power. This one is called She-Ra Princesses of Power. So there's many princesses that have power.
Which is what reminds me of Adventure Time, because in Adventure Time, there's all these little princesses and everything. So, and then My Little Pony, because they're all like, ee-hee, squee, I love you. Stuart. That's why Stuart hates the new She-Ra. It's really cute. I thought it was cute. I'm enjoying it.
I've watched like one episode, and it's not for me. So
Yeah.
it's fine. I'm fine with that.
You usually got to give something more than one episode, but yeah.
No, I'm old. I don't have to give anything more than one episode.
I'm gonna die soon. I can't.
Yeah,
waste
that's
time.
right. I don't have to watch that. It's like, it's funny because my son, who's 12, he absolutely hates the brand new Nickelodeon Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Can't stand it.
Oh my god, I hate it.
But he likes all the older ones. He's fine with all the older ones going back to the 80s, but this new one, can't stand it.
Well, they've got weird square heads and stuff. It's just, I hate. There are certain styles of animation that I truly hate. Like, it was why I had a hard time getting into Adventure Time, because I don't like that style of animation.
Right.
I don't like it. I don't like some of the super heavy CGI animation,
Well, that's
depending on how it's
the new
done.
He-Man is going to be, I believe. It's going to be CGI heavy.
Yeah.
So we'll have to wait and see.
It depends on how it's done, because I didn't like the Star Wars.
But you liked Reboot.
I loved Reboot. Isn't that ridiculous? That's so
maybe,
ridiculous.
maybe because it wasn't super cute. What about Beast Wars?
Take it or leave it.
I like Beast Wars.
Did you?
Beast Wars was good.
I loved that I showed, and this is what I love. See, I'm one of those people where I love these things, and so I want to bring the new generation in and show it to them, right? And so to me, like, Reboot was awesome, right? And I was like, the kids can totally get behind this. They thought it was the most ridiculous thing they had ever seen. I showed it to my students one day. Had no idea. They were like, who comes up with this concept? Who does this animation? It's ridiculous. So then they found images of all the characters from Reboot, and then every time we would have any kind of assignment after that, because we were all digital, right, during the pandemic, the characters from Reboot are in all of they're like pointing at stuff and like telling me about science, and the kids are just like loving it. To them, it's like it's a meme, you know. And that's fine, because, you know, they turned it around and they owned it, right? And it became for them something. So, again, I think I just see this differently just because who I am as a person. And I think that's how everybody is, right? When we watch these shows, okay, I know that most of the time, whatever I like, Stuart's going to hate. I just already know that. And again, Stuart and I come from very different places, right? I'm a girl, and I spend a lot of time with kids, and so I see things moving into these future generations, and I come from a different lens. So for me, and for people like me, this new He-Man was great. For me and people like me, the little cutesy She-Ra, it's great.
You're
enjoying She-Ra.
Both of them. I'm enjoying both of them. I didn't have a problem with either of them.
Yeah, you didn't tell me to turn He-Man off.
No, we kept watching it. I thought there was only 4 episodes, and there was one more.
I didn't play my app games during He-Man. How about that?
Well, must have been important.
I liked it a lot. I did. I
So
liked
the
it a lot.
first episode I was fine, and the second one I was like,
I tend to like animation nowadays more than live action shows. It's gotten to where the live action shows are like too predictable for me. Like, at first we were watching Manifest recently, and I'm like, oh yeah, it's really cool and I like it, right? And I was kind of into it, and I like wasn't playing my game, and then as we go along, I'm like, this is gonna happen. Yep, that happened. Okay, this is gonna happen. Yep, that happened. Okay, this is yep. Okay, back to the games. You know.
No, there's still a lot of loops that they throw out as the Manifest.
There was some. So I don't know.
There's still that you're like, what?
Yeah, there were a few.
Yeah.
But I think these reimagining of these cartoons, I tend to like the cartoons more. Like, even when we're watching the DC stuff, I would prefer to watch the cartoons. Like, because we couldn't find Independence Day on July the 4th, we watched, If Superman Was from Mother Russia, And that was another one. I didn't pick up my app game and play my apps because I was really watching that, and I was really intent on watching that. So I tend to like the animation, and I like seeing the different viewpoints on the animation. There are certain things, I can't always say that I'm open-minded. If y'all have seen my video of me crying about Ready Player One, but when it comes to books and turning it into a movie or something.
You know what they're doing with Superman?
Oh no, what?
They're eliminating what he stands for.
Why would they do that?
Because they've gotten rid of the American way. It's truth and justice.
Oh, well, because the American way has gotten so convoluted that... Yeah. America. I don't know. So I'm okay with these reimaginings. I happen to enjoy this one. Sometimes they're hit or miss for people.
If you haven't seen them, they're on Netflix right now. And if you have Netflix, you can go in there, check them out. I think there's 5 episodes of Masters of the Universe, and then there's 5 seasons or 6 seasons.
5 seasons.
5 seasons of She-Ra,
of She-Ra.
which we haven't made it
So
through.
we haven't even made it through the first season.
No.
So.
Well, we're enjoying it, so.
But there's I think there's 16 in each season or something like that.
Yeah.
No, I think there's one season that's only got about 7.
Oh, okay. Well, so far so good. We like it. Stuart's not a fan, but Stuart's not a teenage girl either.
No, I'm not. So it's not my demographic. I know where my demographic is.
You know what your demographic is. He just buys the old stuff and rewatches it. It's fine.
Yeah, I'm happy with that.
He's happy with it.
His demographics is
Get off
the
my
Toxic
first-
masculinity, get
is
off
the
my lawn.
first episode of that show.
Yeah.
Of the new show.
It was good.
Yeah.
It was good, and it captured me, and I watched the rest because I liked it. I like watching the growth of the
If
characters.
they can continue that first episode throughout the rest of its life, maybe he'll be happy.
No, they won't. But you know they won't.
No, they won't, because they've got to make
there's
up for
so
some
much-
of the toxic
there's so much-
masculinity.
They can bring in new things. There's so many things that they could do to make it right if they choose to do it.
Well, and He-Man could still be the central character, and they could still make it right. Again, it could be about balancing the field and letting Tila find who she is.
Fulger says, "Hi guys, I've only seen the first 3 episodes of He-Man. Haven't seen She-Ra yet. So definitely check them out.
Check 'em out. Check 'em out.
Finish that off and let me know what you think. But so far, I've dug it. So far, I've dug She-Ra,
And we'll be playing with the toys again because I got a
Playing with
Jones
the
in
toys
after
again.
watching that. I'm like,
Not at the price they've got.
no, the ones that you
and
gave
then they
us,
have
the DC ones.
new He-Man toys. New Masters of the
Yeah,
Universe
they're not
toys.
going to sell.
I've been digging through my mom's house. I bet I find my old He-Man
But they look
toys
closer
somewhere.
to the original.
Yeah, they're still not going to sell. He-Man at retail doesn't sell very well. It hasn't sold very well forever. You go into Walmart, with all the classic stuff they have, there's pegs of He-Man and Skeletor that never sell.
Just waiting for it to come to dirt cheap, and then it's all mine.
Cool. Well, awesome. I love watching the shows. Check them out if you can. Catch them on Netflix. But thanks for checking us out. If you haven't clicked on that subscribe button, click on that subscribe button and click on the notification bell so the next time we go live, you'll know. But thanks for checking us out. I'm Vince.
I'm Colleen. Thanks to Stuart.
Geek
Out
Out
Essay.
Essay.